Base radio, we're going off 132 Victoria Road regarding that alarm.
Yeah, copy that radio. I'll look for Sean for that.
Copy, Stage, thank you. Come on, 10.
Come on, 10.
Hey, officer.
Hello to you too.
Alright guys, hello. Welcome back to another video. Today is August 1st. Today marks the official beginning of Traffic Awareness Month. I love to come on here on my channel every August and talk about traffic awareness and traffic safety on the road. This video, the whole purpose of doing this video this year is going to be to focus on safe driving. I want to give you guys the best tips to drive safely on the road. But before we get to that part, which is the main part of this video, I want to give you guys a bunch of driving tips. So we're going to go over a lot of tips before we get to the actual driving part. So I'm going to make this video as fast as possible, as simple as possible. You guys see me in my vest. This is not my official work vest, but I do drive for my career, my job. I'm a bus operator. We do wear similar vests like this, but this is not my actual vest, just so you guys know. But I thought it'd be a good idea to have this on for this video, for this type of video. So yeah, we're going to get started in like 1 second. We're going to dive in. So yes, give me 1 second to set up and we will start the video. Yeah. All right, so I'm back. I do have a bunch of information I want to read from my phone. I do want to say that this year for traffic awareness, I'm not going to be talking about statistics. Last year when I did this, I talked about statistics a lot, and I was giving you guys a lot of information about the numbers that we see every year. But honestly, this year, I kind of feel like I just want to give you guys the information that I follow on the road every day. And also, as far as statistics, just know that they are very high. They are super high. They shouldn't be where they are. I think honestly, one death a year is too much, too many deaths on the roadways. So yeah, so before we dive into my notes here, I do want to tell you guys that once again, I am a bus operator. I have just over 7,000 hours on the road as a bus operator, and that's just with working. Of course, I have a bunch of other hours in my personal car, but just as a bus operator, I have over 7,000 hours. So I'm not BSing. I'm giving you guys valuable information. I do want to say that I've never caused any accidents as a personal driver and as a bus operator. I've never caused any accidents following these tips every single day I go to work. This is not on my notes, but I do want to tell you guys that you should at least try to get 6 to 7 hours, honestly 7 to 8 hours of sleep if you're driving for long periods of time during the day. 7 to 8 hours, bro. I get that every single night before I go to work. You really need that rest. You really do. That is very crucial, and that's going to play a very big part into how you drive. All right, so here we go. Traffic Awareness Month 2026. Safe driving tips for the road. All right. So once again, I will not be going over statistics. We're just going to go ahead and read what I have here. So pretty much everything I have here is it's just a bunch of stuff I wrote down just from, like, once again, my personal experiences and what I follow every day. And yeah, like maybe like 1% of this will be like statistics, a very small part of it, but it won't really be about statistics. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Yeah, basic safe driving tips. So once again, we're going to start with driving tips, and then towards the end of the video, we'll move forward to actually how to drive safely, like when you're actually driving. All right, here we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's go inside of our car here, okay? Get inside of our car. Let's bring the camera inside the car as well. Here we go. Alright, so you can't really see his chest. But first thing first, you want to have your seatbelt on. Oh wait, hold on one second. Let me actually turn off the radio sounds and stuff. Let's go to, you know what, let me turn this down for a second actually. Yeah, we'll turn this back up soon. I can't really hear myself with the headphones. So yeah, so your seatbelt. Your seatbelt should be on first. That's like the first thing you want to have on when you get into the car. That's first. So make sure your seatbelt is on. It could truly save your life. Seatbelts are very effective in keeping you secured and as safe as possible if you're ever in a car accident. I read that kind of wrong, but if you're ever in a car accident. Yeah, so seatbelts really do keep you safe. They have saved many, many lives. If you want to look more into it, search it up. They are very effective. Always be in your seatbelt, always. If you're a passenger in somebody's car, be in the seatbelt. Alright, and right here I have, make sure everyone in your vehicle is in seatbelts as well. If you have any friends, strangers I guess, if you're doing like Uber or Lyft or, you know, taxis or whatever, try to make sure everybody's in their seatbelts. Family, you know, you want them to be as safe as possible while they're driving with you. Okay, let's see. Right here I have, make sure your driver's seat is comfortable first. Then make sure your side view mirrors are able to see the lanes to the left and right of you. So yeah, so as you can see in the video here, our officer, he is sitting comfortably in his chair and he can see this side on his right mirror and the lane over here in his left mirror. So he looks pretty good. He has everything adjusted the right way. And he had, we can't see his chest, but he has a seatbelt on as well. And as you also notice, he has two hands on the steering wheel. That is also very important. We're going to talk more about that as we go on. Alright, so next thing I have here is two hands on the steering wheel. So, two hands on steering wheel, and when you are making turns, make sure that they are slow turns. The reason for both is so that you have more control of your vehicle, and I cannot express that enough. That is so crucial to when you're driving and having control of your own vehicle. Having two hands on the steering wheel is very important. So I'm going to show you guys something really quick. We're going to drive down the street here. We're going to make a right turn. And I'm going to show you guys like a good way to make that right turn. So we're going to sit here at the light. We're going to signal first, of course. And we're going to stop right here. So we have a no turn sign. We don't turn. Lights green. We're going to go ahead and start proceeding to turn. There we go. Now we have pedestrians here walking. We're going to stop for a second. We can continue now. There we go. And we'll park right here. Yeah, so as you saw right there, once again, our officer has two hands on the steering wheel. So yeah, when you're making a right turn or a left turn or any kind of turn, you want to have both hands on the steering wheel to have a lot of control of your vehicle. One other thing you might have noticed as well is the turn was kind of slow, right? Every turn you make, just about every turn you make should be about that slow. So as you may have noticed, I was moving at about 10 miles per hour. So ideally, when it's a turn like that, 10 to 15 miles per hour is like recommended. You should be moving that slow when you turn. A lot of people, or what I see when I'm driving at work a lot of times is like a lot of drivers, they're speeding and then they're trying to make a right turn. They slam on the brakes and they try to hurry up and turn. Or they just slow down a little bit and they're going like 20 or 30, making a right or left turn. That's very dangerous because once again, you really don't have a lot of control of your car when you're turning that fast. The whole point of slowing down when you turn is once again to have better control of your vehicle. Yeah, so recommended 10 to 15. If you're making a slight right or a slight left turn, of course you're not going to move that slow, but a sharp turn should be 5 to 10 miles per hour, and a turn like that should be 10 to 15. That's my recommendation. And yeah, once again, as a bus operator, I follow that every day. I think we're told to turn between 5 to 10, so I'm always like in that range when it comes to turning with the bus. All right, let's check out the next thing we have here. All right, so we have something that says driving tips, the safest way to drive on the road. So we're kind of getting close to the driving. So right here I have something that says when at a red light, do not hit the gas immediately when the light turns green. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean by that. So let's see. We have a red light here, right? Let's say we're trying to go through the intersection. We're at a red light. Let me back up a little bit. We're at a red light. So we're sitting. Once again, light's red. We're looking at our light. We're not paying attention to the other lights around us. We're looking at our light in front of us. At a red light. Waiting for it to change to green. There we go. It's green. We wait a little bit. We can go now. And I'm going to explain that to you guys in a second if you don't understand what I just did. So we'll sit here now. And we'll stop right about here. So, the next part I have that on my notes, it says allow 3 seconds after light changes to green, then go through intersection. So the reason why we're told to do that as a bus operator, and I believe everyone should follow this as well, is because a lot of times when you're driving through intersections, you have a lot of traffic that's still trying to go through the light, trying to make the red light. A lot of people just end up passing the red light because they don't care. But you have cars still trying to go through that intersection. So, once again, to drive safer, it's recommended to wait about 3 seconds before we actually go when the light turns green. You might get people beeping behind you and stuff like that. Let them beep, but you're trying to be as safe as possible. So that's more important than somebody beeping behind you, is what I'll say as far as that. All right, next part that I have here is, it pretty much says what I just said. So it says, this allows any vehicle that may be rushing through the intersection to get through before you go through that same intersection. Yeah, this is really just to keep you safe as possible on the roadways. Once again, the roadways are dangerous in a lot of places, and it's crazy, but some places are more dangerous than others. You really don't know what can happen while you're driving. Anything can happen. Anything can go. Nothing is off the table. All right, so here we go. So it says, once again, the driver behind you. So yeah, so if a driver behind you beeps, let them. I have in parentheses that they're probably in a rush and you're a safe defensive driver. So you are in no rush to get to where you're going. Yep. Yeah, always try to do that. I know it's not always possible sometimes because maybe you're rushing, but I would highly recommend that you try to do this at every intersection because you just never know what's going to happen while you're driving. All right, next part I have here, it says never change lanes in the middle of an intersection. So I'm going to show you guys something really quick about that. Let's go ahead and go back to the traffic light here. All right, so it's a green light for us, right? We have 2 lanes. I want to get over into my left lane. So I'm not going to get over yet. I'm not going to do it yet. Okay, so now I am clear through the intersection. I'm going to signal over. And there's no traffic coming. We can get over here in the left lane. Perfect. We're in the left lane. And we're going to stop about right here. Perfect. And I'm going to tell you guys why I did that. So, I'm going to tell you guys why we're told, as bus operators, once again, we're told to not drive through, we're told not to change lanes in the middle of the intersection. I'm going to explain exactly why. So, because it introduces unpredictable movements in a high traffic area, increasing the possibility of collisions, accidents. I'm going to read that one more time. Because it introduces unpredictable movements in a high traffic area, increasing the possibility of collisions, accidents. And I can't really show you guys this because, this game is really unpredictable. But sometimes when you're going through an intersection, right, you might be driving and you might want to get over into your right lane. But what if someone is trying to make a right turn on the other side? And, people do all kinds of stuff on the roadways, once again. So this is just to, once again, prevent anything from happening. Once again, you don't know what another driver is going to do. Never assume what another driver is going to do. You never know. And drivers turn right like that all of the time. Just trying to, once again, these drivers are rushing to get to where they're going. You aren't. So just to play it safe, wait until you get through the intersection to signal over into your right or left lane if you want to change lanes. Never change lanes in the intersection. It's one of the worst places to do it. Yeah. All right, here we go. Number 3, we have if the car in front of you is not moving when the light turns green, go around them. You don't have to beep. So I'm going to elaborate on that. I want you guys to follow me for a second. So this is kind of crazy. A good example right here. Okay, this car is turning. I think they're turning, but no signal. Okay, let's try to find another car. Okay, here we go. Let me try to stop this car here real quick. Let me stop right about here really quick. Alright, so to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about. So let's say the light is green like this, right? And I'm driving, and this car is not moving at all. And like, I don't know, there's no way to get around the car. Now, if there's no way to get around the car, you know, you can beep. But if there's no traffic on your right or left side, you know, easily just go around them. You don't have to beep when the car is just sitting at a light like that. You can let them do that thing. I mean, sometimes people are distracted. It could be something else. But just to avoid beeping, if they're sitting there at a green light and you're trying to get to where you're going, try your best to go around them versus beeping. That's the safer way to do things. Yeah, but once again, if you cannot get through without that person moving, then yeah, beep your horn. And I would recommend beeping your horn after 5 seconds of sitting. So after 5 seconds have passed, then beep your horn. Because once again, they could be a safe driver as well. They could be waiting the 3 seconds to go through the intersection. But yeah, try to wait 5 seconds to do so if you cannot go around the car. But yeah, if I'm ever at an intersection like this and the light's green like it is right now, and I cannot get this person to move without beeping, I'm gonna go around them simply like this. And you know, yeah, I've done that numerous times, and a lot of times the driver will start to drive after I go around them. But just to prevent anything, try to avoid beeping as much as possible. Yeah, you just never know what that might turn into. That's what I'll say. All right, so let's stop here for a second. Let's read the next thing we have here. Yeah, okay, so I just said this. So yeah, if you can't go around them, simply allow 5 seconds to pass, then alert the driver to proceed. Yeah, once again, if you cannot go around this driver, once again, if you can't, just to avoid it. All right. I'm going to be back in just a few minutes. I'm going to find a certain location in the game to talk about the next category that we're going to be on. So I'll be right back. All right. Next category is stop signs. If you get stop sign, you were right. You can see the stop sign right there. We're gonna go ahead and check out stop signs, and we're gonna learn the safest way to stop at a stop sign and what to do when you approach a stop sign. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna show you guys the correct way to come to a complete stop at a stop sign, and what to do when you get to a stop sign. So let's let these cars go by. There's a car coming down right here. Okay, he's not moving. Let's go. All right, so we have a stop sign coming up. We're approaching the stop sign. We're slowing down. We're slowing down. All right. I think it's a glitch. Okay, we're good. So, as you can see, the line is right here for you to stop. So you want to stop about right here. This is a good spot to stop at. Now, let's go ahead and look inside the car really quick. Sorry. Yeah, so when you come to a complete stop at a stop sign, I would suggest about 2 to 3 seconds before you proceed on. If there are no other cars at the intersection, you should be able to see your whole crosswalk. When you stop at a stop sign, you should be stopping before the stop sign, and you should be able to see the whole crosswalk. Like right here, we have someone crossing the crosswalk here. You should have full visibility of the crosswalk in front of you. Yeah, you just never know. Sometimes you might have someone who is jogging or running or something. They might just dart out there. So just to avoid anything from happening, come to a complete stop here, and you want to stop before the stop sign. Try to stop before it. A lot of times I see people stop. Let me see. Some people stop like right here, you know, without stopping there. So if you're gonna do that, okay, let me show you something else. So stop here, right? Stop before the stop sign, and as you can see, we have a lot of parked cars, so we can't really see traffic. So after we stop here, then we're going to ease out and signal, of course. We're going to ease out about here to look. As you can see, no cars are coming, so we can proceed after the person crosses over. There we go. And right about there, that's not bad. Yeah, so something like that. Yeah, so once again, try to come to a complete stop before the stop sign. And once again, if there are no other cars there, try to stop for like at least 2 to 3 seconds. I'll say 2 to 3 seconds. 2 to 3 seconds. Maybe 3 seconds. Something like that. But just come to a complete stop and then proceed on. After letting people cross or other cars go through, you know, if they're going through. But yeah, if there are no cars there, complete stop for 3 seconds, then proceed on. All right, so next thing we have here is the proper way to make a left turn. So let's go ahead and do this one. I'm going to go over here really quick. So we have a red light right in front of us. We're going to signal to turn left. So there's a left turn coming up. We're going to stop about right here. So I'm going to show you guys the proper way to make a left turn. All right, light is green as you can see. We're going to go ahead and continue. All right, we have people crossing. We're going to slow down a little bit. All right, the people are on the sidewalk. We can go ahead and go now. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, once again, as you can see, I was moving at 10 miles per hour, making the turn, a very slow and safe turn. Also, we had people crossing, so we didn't rush to, you know, get through the intersection, you know, and risk hitting those people. So we waited for them to get to the sidewalk to proceed. And also, a lot of times when I'm driving at work, I see a lot of people, they try to make the left turns very fast. They try to beat traffic that's coming down this way. They'll try to turn in front of that traffic. When you're making a left turn, you're always yielding to traffic. I can't think of a time where you're making a left turn where you're not yielding. If you don't have a signal saying turn left, most likely you're going to always be yielding to traffic. But yeah, a lot of times I see drivers making a left turn and they'll try to beat the traffic that's coming through before they come through. Always yield to traffic. And I'm saying that because, let me show you guys something really quick. If I'm making a left turn, right, let me show you something. If I make a left turn like this, and if I rush and make the turn, and if I try to beat traffic that's coming across that way, I might hit somebody. I might hit somebody who's crossing, because when you're doing that, you're not paying attention to the pedestrians crossing. You're paying attention to the traffic that's trying to go through the intersection before you. So you're trying to rush and make the left turn, and you know you have people crossing, you have people on bicycles and stuff. You have to really be mindful of that when you're making left turns. And once again, if you're making a left turn, yield as much as possible to traffic, and make your turn when it's safe to do so. I'm going to say this too about left turns. If you're making a left turn and you feel like you have to rush the turn as far as seeing a car coming towards you on the other side, you probably shouldn't go through. If you have to step on your gas pedal really hard to make that turn, to beat traffic coming towards you, you probably should just wait until traffic is clear to make a safe left turn. Yeah, but we see it all the time while we're out. I see it very often when I'm driving at work, and in my personal car as well. So I guess really both. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about stale green lights and fresh green lights. I'm going to give you guys a definition of that. Okay, so I'm going to go about right here. I'm going to stop right here. Right here. Alright, and as you can see, there's a green light right now, right? So that green light, whenever a traffic light turns green, the first car you see here at the line, wait, let me show you something really quick. Let me let this car go through. So the first two cars you see here, whenever the light turns green, for them, this is called a fresh green light. So I'm going to stand back here. Let's wait for the light to turn green. Okay, light's green. This person is going. So to that person, this green light is a fresh green light because they are the first car at the light. Any car that comes after that first row of cars that are right there at the traffic light, well, the cars right here in the, I guess, rows. But yeah, so any car after the first car at the light is considered a stale green light. A stale green light means that whenever the first car goes through that intersection or first cars go through that intersection, the light, just kind of expected to change at any time. It can change at any time. It's kind of what a stale green light is. So anytime you see, once again, anytime you see like a car that's already here at the light waiting for it to turn green, the second it turns green, for that first car, it's considered a fresh green light. Any car after that car is considered a stale green light, and that just means that the light can change at any time. Keep that in mind as you're driving. Yeah, that's very important. That's very important. All right, so I have something here that says watch out for bikes and scooters. Scooters and bikes becoming more and more popular. For example, e-bikes. Always be aware of your surroundings. Yeah, so as far as that, when it comes to bikes, yeah, this is why it's always good to know what's going on around your vehicle. Try to be very cautious when you see any bicyclist or someone on that e-bike or just any kind of bikes. Once again, if you give them space, give them about 3 feet of space to go around if you have enough room to go around them. So, yeah, just be very aware of people on bicycles. That's a lot happening with, bicycles are in the street now. When I was younger and when I was brought up, we were always told to never ride our bikes in the street. And, now they have like a law where bicycles are allowed to be in the streets. And we have to share the road to people on bicycles. Yeah, it's very weird to me kind of because of how I grew up and the time I grew up in. But the whole point of me saying all that is, we do have to share the road to people who have bicycles or e-bikes or whatever it is. If we can go around them, give them 3 feet of space, and then proceed around them. If you cannot go around them, wait until it's safe to do so and proceed around them. Yeah. All right, and I have something here talking about AI self-driving cars. So yeah, really quick, I want to say something about AI self-driving cars, just for like a brief second before we continue. Yeah, they're really trying to push self-driving cars. I mean, it's crazy. They have this company called Waymo right now, and they're becoming pretty popular around a lot of places. There are people who would rather drive or ride as a passenger in a self-driving car than an actual person, and that tells you a lot about us as drivers and like how I guess how bad we've gotten with driving. The fact that someone would pick an actual AI machine to take them somewhere over a person really says a lot. I don't think we need self-driving cars. I don't think we need it. I think us humans, we have to figure out a way to be more safe on the road. As far as statistics, we're like, once again, when it comes to car accidents, we're crazy high, with the number of accidents we have every year. I don't know what the number is exactly, but I know it's crazy high. I reported this last year. I know it's probably about the same. Yeah, but we don't need AI self-driving cars. I think what we need is just a better way to make our cars safer for us. Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say that a self-driving AI car can't do that a human can do is if an AI self-driving car is somewhere on the road and there's someone having a medical emergency or like some kind of, they might need some kind of help. The AI self-driving car is not going to stop and pull over for that person to help them. An actual human being might see someone going through something like that, and they'll pull their car over, and they'll try their best to assist that person. An AI self-driving car can't do that. So we need each other when it comes to driving. We need to have better support when it comes to being safe on the road, because we don't need AI self-driving cars. We don't need it. We don't need it. And you know, of course, you could argue with me and say like, "Oh yeah, that's safer than humans and stuff like that." Okay, cool, but we don't need them. We don't need them, and they've caused a lot of problems already in the news. Okay, let's go ahead to the next part. So we have something here that says, "What to do if you have an emergency situation that happens suddenly and unexpectedly, such as a flat tire." So I'm going to read that really quick. So hold the steering wheel firmly with two hands and ease up off the brakes and pull off the roadway safely onto the side of the road. If this happens during late night hours, try pulling over into a well-lit area where you can see and wait for assistance. Yeah, so if you ever have like a situation, like some kind of emergency, I guess really something like if your tire blows out at night or just during the day. But at night, try to find a well-lit area. But if it blows out during the day or at night, whatever time it is, yeah, just try to pull over safely and call for assistance to be helped out. Yeah, I mean, I guess worst case scenario is if the tire blows out at night and you don't feel safe changing your tires wherever you are. Try to find a spot to pull over at where there's a lot of light where you can like be seen and call for assistance. Yeah, they have numbers that you can actually call, I believe. They have like highway assistance and roadway assistance in states. Like my state, I believe the number's like 311 or 611, something like that. But you can call them and they'll come out to you as soon as they can. So yeah, please don't try to drive on a flat tire, especially if you're going somewhere far. Yeah, but always try to pull over as soon as you notice the problem, or if you're having any kind of emergency, just try to pull over as soon as possible and wait for assistance. Call for assistance, wait for them. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Sometimes we have good Samaritans where they might see you pulled over and they'll ask, "Hey, do you need help?" You know, we have good people out there like that who will check on you. Once again, something that AI self-driving car cannot do. All right, so next thing we have is, all right, the meaning of flashing red lights at an intersection and flashing yellow lights at an intersection and intersections where traffic lights are completely out. All right, so as you can see here, once again, we have a intersection here, right? So if there was ever a problem where the lights are flashing red, like this, you know, the way it's red right now, if they ever came to a point where they're flashing like red over and over again and not like a solid red, that's going to always be like a stop sign for you. If you ever have a light that's flashing yellow, that's going to be a more of a yield. That's more like that's more of a yield sign for you. Yeah. So if it sorry, if it's a if it's a yellow flashing light, you want to yield. So what I mean by that is, as you're going towards the intersection, kind of slow down, see what's going on with the other traffic before you proceed on. But one thing I will say about a yellow flashing light and a red flashing light, if you have a yellow flashing light,
Hi there.
if you have a yellow flashing light, you do have more of the right of way to go through the intersection before someone with a flashing red light. Yeah, usually one side has yellow flashing and the other side has a red flashing. So yeah, and once again, if the traffic lights are completely out, if there's no lights showing on the traffic signals at all, what you want to do is treat that whole intersection as a stop sign. Everyone should be coming to complete stops and proceeding on. That's how I do it. It's funny. I think like last week at work, actually, I think a storm had happened or something like that, and I came to an intersection where the traffic lights were completely out. Now this is a very busy intersection. So yeah, so what I did was I came to a complete stop at the intersection. I didn't see anyone going through, so I made my way through safely, and I was fine. Yeah, so for the most part, you want to come to a complete stop if there's something wrong with the traffic signals, and then proceed on when it's safe to do so. That's what I always recommend when it comes to stuff like that. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about the proper way to change lanes. So I'm going to turn my camera off for this. I'm going to talk to you guys off camera, and we're going to talk about how to change lanes properly. So yeah, let's go ahead and get that started. Let me turn my camera off again. All right, let's get in the car. All right, so we're gonna wait for the light to turn green. All right, light's still red. Light's still red. By the way, we're at a good distance. We can see the crosswalk. We have a very good view. Let's go. All right, so there's a green light. We're driving. We waited 3 seconds before we proceeded. I want to change lanes, but there's a car on my left side, so it's not safe to do so yet. Okay, so now we see that there's no other cars coming up on our left side, so we can now get over. We're going to get behind this car here, turn our signal off, and we're going to stop right about here. I'm going to stop about right here. Yeah, that was a really good way to change lanes. I like how the van came up at the moment I was trying to make my left turn. I'm sorry, make my lane change. Yeah, so one thing I'll say about that is a lot of times drivers will see a car coming up on their left side or right side, and they're trying to get over into either lane, and they'll try to speed up to beat the vehicle. But what ends up happening is when you do that, you end up speeding just to get in front of the vehicle. I think it's always safe to try to get behind the vehicle, especially if they're on your left side. If they're right next to you, always try to get behind them if possible. You don't have to always like brake to slow down. Sometimes you can just let go of your gas pedal to slow down. You don't have to always brake your car to slow down to get behind them. A lot of times you can just let go of your gas pedal for a bit, ease your way on over. Totally fine. Totally fine. Yeah, now if the car is pretty far back on your left or right side, you're trying to get over, of course, if it's safe to do so, you can get over. But if they're right next to you, I would say get behind them. Try your best to get behind them. Yeah, I mean, if you're speeding to get in front of them, once again, you never know what's going to happen. What if another car wants to change lanes, or what if someone just runs out in the middle of the street and you're speeding and you're going above the speed limit? Yeah, I think that's why I recommend it, because if you have to speed to get in front of the vehicle on your left side or right side, it's not worth it. Slow down, get behind them. All right, so next we have something that says have a 15-second eye lead time when driving. So what that really means, or pretty much means, is whenever you're driving, you should be looking as far as you can. You should be seeing as far as you can to see what's going on. So let me show you something really quick. So let me make a turn here really quick. All right, I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to stop right here by the fire hydrant, actually. All right, I'm going to stop right here. All right, so just sitting inside of my car and looking as far as I can, what do I see? As you can see, I can see a traffic signal. I can see 2 cars going through the green light. I can see a bunch of trees down there as well. Yeah. So just like that, you want to look as far as you can whenever you're driving. You want to see everything that's going on everywhere. You might have a sign that says right lane closed in 200 feet. I'm sorry, in 2 miles. So if you see a sign like that, you would know, oh yeah, let me get over to my left lane. So always important to have good eye lead time when you're driving. That's very important as well. Yeah, right now I see a car turning right and coming towards me. Yeah, I'm looking down as far as I can. Always have a 15-second eye lead time when you're driving. One more thing I want to say too is, whenever you're driving, whenever you're going somewhere the next day, let's say if I have maybe like an appointment or I'm going to work tomorrow, always give yourself more time when leaving. Always give yourself more time. So I say that because if you give yourself enough time to leave, you don't have to feel like you have to rush. A lot of times we see people rushing and driving. They're rushing because they either got up late or, they chose to get up late and they just, I don't know, they're choosing to drive the way they want to drive because they want to drive the way they want to drive. Some people do that as well. But once again, if you're giving yourself and allowing yourself more time to get ready to leave, then you don't have to worry about rushing. If I know I'm traveling like an hour away, if I'm driving an hour away, right, I'm not going to leave out at the exact second to get there at the exact time I need to be there. I should leave out maybe like an hour and 20 minutes earlier, or an hour and 30, even an hour and 30 earlier. Yeah, I mean, the thing about leaving earlier is, once again, you don't have to rush. It avoids you having to rush or feel like you have to rush. And it gives you more time in case there's something happening like construction work, traffic jam, car accidents. You just never know what you're going to run into. Yeah, one thing I'll tell you guys as well is whenever you're driving, always expect a delay. Always expect a delay of some sort. So this is why you always should allow more time for yourself whenever you're going anywhere. And I would honestly stress that if you're traveling further, is more important. If you're traveling like 10 minutes out the way, 15 minutes out the way, it's still important, but not as important, I would say. But you never know. You never know. I can't really say that, but I'll say that. You just never know what you're going to see or run into when you're driving. Once again, there could be a big car accident. Traffic could be slowed down for like 30 minutes, 10 minutes. Who knows? Nobody knows. Yeah, so always give yourself time. Always try to get up earlier or early to get to where you're going. Uh, Basically, plan ahead. Basically, you just try to plan ahead as much as possible. I'll say that. Um, yeah, and one more thing I'll say too is it's very important that we all drive safe. But to the people who drive for a living, or to the people who drive all the time, like very often, it is more important that you drive safe. And it might sound crazy. I've never really said that out loud. It might sound kind of crazy. Everyone driving should be driving safe. That's very important. But when it comes to people who drive for hours and hours and hours, it's even more important for them to be driving safe. Everyone should be driving safe. I'm not saying that everyone shouldn't be. I'm just trying to say that if I'm on the road for 15 hours a day, I should be following every safe driving rule in the book. If I drive just like 20 minutes a day, I should also still be following those same exact rules. But it's more crucial to people who drive longer periods of time. It is. It is because the thing about the person who's driving 15 hours a day, they're on the road all the time, so they're more prone to causing an accident because they're always behind the wheel versus someone who's just driving for like 20, 30 minutes a day. Once again, both very important, but I do believe that one is more important than the other, if that makes sense. I do believe so. All right, so the next part of this video will be about driving. We're finally getting to the driving part. So I'm going to show you guys the safest way to drive. We're finally getting to the part, uh, the main part of the video. I'll say that. We're getting to that. So yeah, so it says keep more distance between you and the car in front of you. I love talking about keeping your distance because that is one of the most important things that you can do when you're driving. Always try to keep your distance from the car that's in front of you. That's so important. That's so important. And honestly, I think that helps out a lot. I mean, you probably don't realize how important that is. If you're someone who always stays close to the car in front of you, you probably don't realize how important it is to just keep your distance and how much you avoid from happening by just doing that simple, basic task. All right, so below that, we have something that says, because you are traveling at a much faster speed than the streets. Okay, so this is about highways. So we're going to get on the highway in just a few minutes so I can demonstrate to you guys the safest way to drive. Yeah, we're going to get on the highway and we're going to drive for a bit. And we're going to talk about the safest way to drive on the highway and on the roadways as well. But yeah, so this is more important if you're on the highway because on the highway, you're traveling at much faster speeds than the streets. This means that you're allowing yourself more time to come to a complete stop when you're hitting your brakes, whether it's a hard brake or a normal brake. Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean by that. So let's go ahead and let's go on the highway. I'm going to come back in a few seconds. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and hop on the highway. I'm going to show you guys the safest way to drive on the roadways and the highway. So let's go ahead and turn the camera off for a second. All right, so let's see. The highway is about right here. So we're going to start here. I'm going to mark this. And then we'll proceed our way on through the highway as much as we can. Whoa. Let's pull over right here. Alright, I'm going to pull over here for a second. So, we are on the highway. We're on the very beginning of the highway. So, in this demonstration, I want you guys to pay attention to this. I want to hit pause for a second. I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying. In this demonstration, the speed limit is going to be 40 miles per hour. We're going to be moving at 40 miles per hour. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's do that. So once again, just to remind you guys, to give you guys a refresher, the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. Let's go. Alright, so we're driving. We're going to signal over to get over to the left lane. There we go. Alright, so we're going to stop at 40 miles per hour. Let's see. We're at about 30 now. Alright, getting to 40. And there we go, 40. So I'm going to lock it right here at 40 miles per hour. So as you can see, we're driving. We're doing the speed limit. 40 miles per hour. Alright guys, so I want you guys to keep paying attention. I want to show you guys something. Keep paying attention. Once again, as you can see, we're doing 40 miles per hour, right? Following the speed limit. And look at that. Someone's passing us. Someone's passing the speed limit. Wow. See, this happens all the time. This happens all the time. So the thing about driving like this is, for one, you're following traffic laws. You're not doing anything wrong. Also, driving like this opens up a lot of options for you. So as you can notice, we have cars around us that are speeding. I'm going to get over here. This car's trying to get over. I'm going to signal to get back over in this lane. Okay, yeah, so once again, driving at the speed limit, the recommended speed limit, which is the safe limit to drive. You know, driving like this, a lot of times we have cars that'll speed past you because they're in a rush to get to where they're going. As you can see, everyone's driving past us. Everyone is going past the speed limit. Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, so once again, this will give us more options. So if we want to get over into our left lane, we can. If we want to go right, we can. As you notice, the cars are driving past us, but we have windows. We have options to move around if we want to move around. That is the blessing about following the speed limit and following traffic laws. Yeah. Let me pull over for a second. Alright, yeah, so once again, as you can see, we have people who are speeding past us while we're doing the speed limit. Yeah, I mean, the thing about that is that happens all the time, right? The speed limit is always, you know, not being followed, I'll say, when we're out on the roads. But one thing about when you're driving the way I just drove, I was driving the right speed. I was driving 40 miles per hour, and people are just going past me. What it does is, like I was just saying, it gives you options to go either left or right, because usually what ends up happening is the cars are going past you when they shouldn't be, but they're going past you, and after they go past, you have space to move over if you want. You get space. And what ends up happening a lot of times too is cars will try to fight for that space in front of you. You know, I couldn't really demonstrate it like that in this video, but if there was a car in front of me, right, I would have kept my distance from that car, of course. But a lot of times cars will try to fight for that space in front of you. And what you should do in that situation is just let them fight for the space. Nothing you can do. And once they get in front of you, you should keep distance again from that car that just got in front of you. So you want to keeping distance from the car that's in front of you, whether it's a car that's cutting you off or a car that's not cutting you off. Always try to keep space. Yeah, this happens all the time. And also, by the way, I do know that the speed limit is 55, but I just wanted to demonstrate uh, how it usually is in reality when it comes to driving. That's why I said 40. All right, so here we go. So leaving less space in front of you when there's heavy traffic. So I didn't really talk about this part yet. So whenever there's heavy traffic, I would suggest to leave less space in front of you. I'm not saying be right on the bumper of the car in front of you, but if I leave a bunch of space in front of me with rush hour traffic or like super heavy traffic, every car is going to be cutting me off. And then what ends up happening is I won't move at all. That's a different scenario. That's a totally different scenario. But yeah, in that type of situation, you want to be as close as possible, but not to the bumper of the car, of course, but just like you want to be kind of close. But you don't want everyone cutting you off to the point where you're not moving. So it just doesn't make any sense to keep a lot of space during a situation where there's like a traffic jam or rush hour, like a lot of traffic. Try to be closer during those periods. All right, here we go. So the highway is a dangerous place to drive. I want to read for a bit about the highway, okay? And why the highway is so dangerous and why it's so unsafe. And why, honestly, I would suggest to avoid the highway if you could find a better route to get to where you're going. Now, I know a lot of times if you're traveling very far, you kind of need to use the highway to get there at a good time. But if you don't need the highway, once again, I would highly suggest just taking the streets, especially during rush hour time. You honestly, the streets might be faster during that time of the day. All right, here we go. So this is because the highway has no traffic lights, and you are traveling at a much faster speed than you are on the streets. Sometimes, depending on the time of day, taking the streets to get to your destination is the better option, which is what I just said. I just said that. Yeah. All right. Next thing we have, it says leaving distance and following the speed limits on the highway are also important. Here we go. And I'm going to tell you guys why that's important. So here we go. So it's important because if anyone decides to come to a complete stop or slam on their brakes for any reason at all, it allows you more time to adjust your vehicle and go around the stopped vehicle, or to also come to a complete stop as well, because the stopped vehicle could be coming to a complete stop because of traffic also coming to a complete stop ahead. That is very important. That's so important. I've seen so many stories about highway fatalities because a car comes to a complete stop and someone is like moving very fast behind them and not paying attention, and they end up rear-ending that car, and then like more cars come in. It's just like a bunch of cars crashing into each other. First thing I want to say is never stop on the highway. Never stop in the lanes on the highway. If you're going to stop on the highway, try to get over into the emergency lanes on your left or right side. Honestly, the right side if possible. Never stop on the highway. That is the most dangerous thing you could do driving. I think that's probably the top dangerous thing you could do do while you're driving is coming to a complete stop on the highway. Never do that. You never want to do that. And right here, yeah, I wrote down like some stories, so I just all right, I'm gonna read what I have here. It says that I've heard and seen too many stories about trailer trucks or cars coming to a complete stops on the highway and the cars behind them crashing into them. Yeah, that's pretty much what I just said. Yeah, I mean, I've heard so many stories, man. You just never know. Yeah, that's why I always say leave space, leave distance. Always pay attention as well, because if I'm driving the right way, right? If I'm leaving space from the car in front of me, but I'm also distracted, that's not going to help anything. Because if I'm distracted, yeah, it does help that I'm keeping distance. I will say that. But if I'm distracted and the car is stopping and I don't know because I'm looking at my phone or I'm doing something else, that's not any better. Pay attention. Pay attention and also leave space. You cannot do one or the other. You have to do both. It's very important. We're talking about lives. We're talking about saving lives, pretty much. Saving your life. And yeah, I also had sorry, I also have here something that says, never stop on the highway, like I just said. But in case someone does come to a complete stop on the highway, this will help you out so much. Yeah. Yeah, so the tips I just gave you will help you out so much. If someone does decide to stop on the highway, Once again, cars stop all the time when we're driving. A lot of times we don't know why, but this is why you keep distance because you never know what a car's going to do. And also, I'll say this too, never assume what a driver's going to do. You don't know what a driver's going to do. You can predict or have ideas on what they're going to do, but you never truly know what a driver's going to do. So always keep the space and yeah. All right, next thing I have here is get rid of the phones. Guys, we have come to a point where police officers are trying to find people who are driving on their cell phones. Man, it's crazy. Cell phones really get us in a lot of trouble, man. Cell phones are a good thing, but we use them sometimes in bad ways, is what I'll say. Please, if you can, seriously, put your phone either in the back seat. Shoot, honestly, if you have to, put it in the trunk of your car so you're not on the cell phone. Once again, driving and having a cell phone in your hand, whenever you're driving like that, I was told that about 5 seconds of your eye time from driving is off of the road and into your phone. That's 5 seconds where something could happen on the road. Yeah, man, please try to find a way to put your cell phones up, please. All right, here we go. So a small amount of time with your eyes off the road can lead to you missing a major amount of what's going on the road around you. And once again, like I just said, this says that the average time eyes are off the road and on phone is 5 seconds. So I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to do something. I'm going to get on the game. I'm going to drive, but I'm going to drive and I'm going to also be distracted while I'm driving. So let's go ahead and go back to the game really quick. Let's see something really quick. Let me see something. Okay, so we can take this way here. Okay, so we're going to exit off the highway, and I'm going to start. Sorry. I'm going to start looking down at my phone. I have my phone here. I'm going to look at it as I'm driving. I'm going to show you guys how bad it can be to be on your cell phone while you drive. So let's go ahead and drive. All right, we're going on the ramp. I'm on my phone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking back up, looking back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh crap! Just like that. Just like that. Once again, you gotta pay attention. You have to pay attention to what you're doing when you're driving. You have to. It's very important. I mean, that could have been a stopped vehicle. That could have been a lot of other things. But you ended up wrecking your car because you're distracted on your cell phone. Please. Cell phones have to go up, man. Have to go up. So once again, talking more about distractions while you're driving, it says things are changing all the time on the roadways. That is why it's very important to leave your phone away from you when you're driving, because that is one of the biggest distractions behind the wheel. Yeah, very important stuff, man. Very important stuff. All right, next thing we have here is we're talking about what to do if someone... Okay, I have two things. I'm going to keep this really simple. So first question says, what to do when someone cuts you off on the road, question mark. Second question is, what to do when someone is driving slow in front of you, question mark. And for both questions, nothing. There's nothing you can do. If someone decides to cut me off, let them cut you off. And this is the thing, and this is why I stress that we get up earlier to give ourselves more time to get to where we're going. Because if I'm not in a rush to get to where I'm going at, if someone decides to cut me off, it doesn't matter. I'm on time to where I'm going at. It doesn't matter. Let them cut you off. Keep distance again from that car that just cut you off. It's the same thing I just told you guys. Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes when we're driving, we let our emotions or our egos or whatever it is get the best of us, and we're like, no, what are you doing? No, no, you don't have to do that. They cut you off, give space, let them do that thing. And cutting people off is wrong. I'm not advocating for people who cut people off. I think that's the craziest thing you can do while you're driving. But I'm going to say this about how we can stop this from happening. The best way we can stop people from cutting other people off while we're driving is we should stop doing it ourselves. If you're someone who drives and you cut people off a lot without signaling, stop doing it. I mean, it starts with you. We have to be the change, to see the change, if that makes sense. And yeah, if someone's moving super slow in front of you and it's like one lane, let them move slow, keep your distance. And when it's safe to do so, go around them. I guess I mean like if a lane opens up for that car. Sorry, if a lane opens up for you to go around them, go around. But if it's a single lane, like where like you have two yellow lines on your left side and then you can't really move over on your right side because there's no other lanes, keep your distance, stay behind the car, don't try to go around the car because if you go across those yellow lines, you could be putting yourself at a huge risk for an accident, and that's also illegal as well. Okay, next question is what to do if you see another driver suffering from a medical emergency. So from this, I have a lot of stuff from this I want to read. We're very close to the end of this video, but this is what I want you guys to do if you see someone who is suffering from a medical emergency and if you can assist them as much as possible. Here we go. So first thing you want to do is you want to maintain distance. Avoid tailgating or attempting to block the vehicle with your car. Let the vehicle slow down naturally or come to a rest. After that, you want to call 911 immediately. Provide dispatchers with the vehicle's description, the license plate, the exact location, and the driver's behavior. Next one says approach with caution. If the car has come to a complete stop, turn on your hazard lights. Carefully approach the vehicle if the surroundings are safe. Next part says follow dispatcher instructions. The 911 operator will guide you on how to proceed, which may include safely securing the vehicle, which is like putting it into park or turning off the engine, if you can do so without placing yourself in danger. All right, so yeah, I mean, once again, driving, you don't know what to expect when you're on the road. Someone could be suffering from a medical emergency, and you might have time to stop. I know sometimes we might be rushing to like going to work or rushing to some kind of appointment where we can't really stop to check on the person. But if you have time, please try to check on your fellow drivers to make sure that they're fine and safe. Okay, I think we already did this, but we can talk about this really quick. So what to do if your car breaks down on the highway, ? Once again, don't stop on the side of the highway unless you absolutely have to. So yeah, once again, I would suggest if your car breaks down, if you can pull off the highway to park on the street, I would highly suggest you do that. Because once again, the highway is very, very dangerous. And just to get you guys off of the highway, I think it's safer to have you on the street waiting for assistance to come to you versus the highway. Once again, only if you can. Of course, if you can't do that, then I would just suggest that you stay on the highway and pull over to your right or left. Whichever one you're closer to, depending on the severity of the emergency. Let's see. Next part says, do not stop on the side of the highway unless you absolutely have to. If possible, pull off the highway at your closest exit and sit on the street until you're able to get help or resolve the issues with your vehicle. Yeah. But yeah, that's going to pretty much be it for this video. Before I stop this video, I do want to tell you guys a quick trick. So I learned this trick when I was training as a bus operator. I learned this trick about driving. So a lot of times when you're driving, they recommend that you should be checking your side mirrors like every 5 to 8 seconds or something like that. I can't lie, it's kind of hard to do sometimes. You're driving a lot, and I think for the most part, we're usually focused on what's happening in front of us. And I'm very sure a lot of us don't check our side view mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds, which is okay. That's okay. So to help you out with that, as far as, making sure that you're in the right lane, as far as making sure that you're in the lane that you should be in, to making sure that your vehicle is centered in the center of your lane. That's something I call a gas called a gas pedal trick is what I call it. So this trick is pretty much if your gas pedal is in the center of the lane, then you know that your car is in the center of the lane. So you don't have to check your side view mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Yeah, so if your gas pedal is in the center of your lane as you're driving, then you know that your car is in the center of the lane. So you don't have to keep checking your side view mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. They suggested, they recommended. A lot of us do not do it. I'm pretty sure like 90% of drivers don't do this. So so yeah. Once again, to make sure your car is centered in your lane, your gas pedal should be in the center, and you should be fine. You should be fine. Yeah. Once again, thanks for stopping by and checking out this traffic awareness video or premiere. This video will be on this channel forever. So if you ever want to come back and look at this stuff, come on back and look at it. Yeah, once again, school is coming up. It's August 1st, so yeah, school's coming up now. And this is the time where we should be being aware and trying to be more safe for the kids that are going to school and just trying to be more safe around this time of the year. I mean, we should try to be safe all times of the year, but really during this time when school is back and we have a bunch of kids and just more traffic in general around this time of the year, as you can agree. Yeah, just want you guys to be safe as possible. I want to stop here. Once again, thanks for watching. I had a great time recording this for you guys. This is some very important stuff. I will be sharing some of these clips from this video onto my social media, just to try to spread more awareness about this. So, yeah. Thanks for watching.